Hi, my name's Nancy. I'm program coordinator for Bruce County Public Library, and today we're here at the Port Elgin Curling Club. We're going to go inside. We're going to talk with Ed Nichols. He's the ice tech person here at the Port Elgin Curling Club. So we're going to go in and learn what that's all about. Good day. Today we are very pleased to be here at the Port Elgin Curling Club, and we're here with Ed Nichols. Ed is the ice tech for the Port Elgin Curling Club, and we're going to learn a little bit about how that works, what Ed's role here is, what he does, especially leading up to the big Tankard event that's going to be happening in Port Elgin in January. So we wanted to learn a little bit more about what you do here at the club. So how long have you been the ice tech here at the club?
3 years as ice tech, but working on the ice about 10.
About 10 years.
Yeah,
Right.
but just 3 years.
Right. And you were saying that you have to be certified in order to be an ice tech here. So can you kind of tell us about that process a little bit?
Well, it's a course that Curl Ontario offers. It's a 2-day course. So they go through, teach you about the principles of making ice, how pebble works, how to scrape. It's a pretty in-depth course for 2 days. It's pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And there's different levels of certification?
Yeah, up to 4. I
Right.
believe up to 4. So you can go up. You can go up to the different steps. Depends on what you want to do. If you want to get involved with provincial tournaments, bonspiels, competitions,
Right.
then you need those credits to do it. But I'm just happy where I am.
Very cool. So how many hours a week do you put into keeping the ice going here in Port Elgin?
Myself, probably 20, at least
Wow.
20.
Wow. So what are some of the things that you do to prepare for a regular week's worth of curling here at the club?
Well, every day of curling, we scrape the ice.
Okay.
So it's scraped.
Mhm.
Right now, there's draws 4 days a week,
Mhm.
and there's juniors on Sunday, and the ice will be scraped
Right.
each day
Right.
for those leagues. Basically, what I mean by scraping is we're removing pebble.
Oh,
You don't
okay.
want the pebble to build up, and then it creates contours in the ice. You want to try and maintain a flat surface, and
Okay.
then allow the rocks to do the curling.
So how can you tell if you're getting too much buildup or too much pebbling happening?
You can see it. You can actually see the pebble on the ice building up.
Okay.
If it wasn't built up, you'd be able to see the ice below the pebble.
Okay.
So,
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are there any tricks of the trade to pebbling? Like what makes, somebody like a better ice maker than another?
knowing your own club probably is one, because each club's ice pad's different. Their chiller system's different. Basically, every day you're watching. You scrape when you scrape the ice, you're watching the amount of snow that's removed and seeing what patterns there. That pattern tells you a story. If there's high spots or low spots in the ice.
Cool.
Yeah. So we're watching that, and then if it's too low, if there's low spots, then you can pebble over that and then scrape again.
Right.
So the whole principle of scraping is remove the high spots and then fill in the low spots with pebble.
Right.
So pebble means, that's another thing altogether.
Yeah, right.
Pebble is what the rocks run on,
Right.
right? When you throw them from one end to the other. And so we use pebble before a scrape to fill in the low spots, and then we scrape it.
Oh, okay.
And then trying to get a level sheet of ice.
Right, because you don't want it like
No,
this.
not
as
at
the
all.
rock
You
goes
don't.
down
You
the
don't
ice.
want a high spot. The rock will run straight and
Right.
won't curl. A low spot can create large curl.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good.
And there's another term we use here called sublimation. So
Okay.
we can lose ice
Uh-huh.
on the edges where there's more airflow. So it'll go from a solid phase to a vapor phase without going through the liquid phase. So the ice will actually disappear. So we have to continually build that up
Right.
on the edges.
Right. And again, as you were saying, this is something you learn as you do this over and over and become familiar with your facility.
Yeah, that's right. And when you're watching you're always watching the sheets when you're not curling, watching others curl and see what the rocks do.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So somebody like me couldn't go out there and just like pebble, because I kind of have to know how the game works.
Yeah, pebbling's an art, and there's a certain pattern you should use
Right.
when you're pebbling,
Yeah.
so that it's a consistent pebble each time you pebble.
Right.
You don't want to change it.
Yeah.
So the whole idea here is to keep things constant, pebbling
Right.
constant, air temperature constant, ice temperature constant,
Right.
and humidity. So
Right.
we can control all three of those elements.
Right. So there's a lot of factors at play.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. And Mother Nature. Mother Nature has,
Right.
like right now, it's about 6 degrees.
Mhm.
So that can affect the temperature, air temperature in here,
Yeah.
and the ice
Right. Yeah.
and
yeah.
humidity.
Right. So yeah, the difference between it being -20 outside and affecting the, climate on the inside of the building versus a day like today where it's a little bit moist, a little bit rainy.
Yeah,
that sort of
absolutely. And the colder it is, the easier it is to maintain those conditions.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense for sure.
So we did have heaters put in last year, so we
Yeah.
have heaters out there. So once they're running, then you can control the humidity better. So
Oh, right. So now you're the expert here in the Port Elgin Curling Club. Now we're looking at the Tankard event. So what would be the differences between, like what you do here and how you would prepare for a large event like the Tankard? Like how would you take like arena ice and turn that into curling ice? What would be some of the things that you'd have to do there or consider?
well, they have probably 8 of the best ice makers and ice techs in the province
Right.
in southern Ontario working
Yeah.
there, and they, their skill level and experience is great.
Right.
So what they do is we take that ice, that skating ice, and what they do is they check it for level with survey equipment, with
okay.
lasers,
Right,
just
yeah.
to see where low spots or high spots are.
Okay.
So they will use the Zamboni to shave it down to get it level.
Right.
And then from there, they start building their ice. They will whitewash it, and then they will form an area. They use cord, and they'll draw lines. They'll figure out where each sheet is going to be with lines, and then so they put the lines in. There's back line, there's center line, there's hog line,
Right.
and the T line. So they get them all marked onto the ice, and then they put foam in. So they'll make 5 different sheets of ice. They put foam in between each sheet,
Right.
and then they'll flood each individual sheet. So they bring it up, and then they put the hacks in. And they'll flood it up to a level where the water comes above the hack,
Right.
the hack plate, the hack insert sort of.
Right.
So
So it's like layer upon layer upon layer upon layer.
yeah, and then small layers,
Right.
like small floods, so that it freezes evenly. So they'll get their ice level, and then after that, the principle there is to keep the ice flat.
Right.
Then the rocks will be sharpened so that they have a lot of curl, and then pebble.
Right.
And then there's a lot of advertising goes in. The houses, like this house here we have, theirs is an insert, so they'll drop it in on the
okay.
house and then just
Right.
freeze it in place.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it will be like logos and
Oh,
all
lots
that
of, yes.
embedded in
Lots
there
of,
too.
lots of, advertisers and curl on, and I don't know if, somebody like Tim's might be in on, and the
Right.
Scotties, of course.
Well, yeah,
right?
of course, yeah, for
See,
sure.
our rings are painted.
Right.
This is glow in the dark paint.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. I kind of wondered about the colors.
Yeah, a little different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So how long a process would that be to turn arena ice into curling ice?
Well, they can do that in about 3 days.
Really?
Yeah, long hours.
Wow.
So
yeah.
they'll start Friday morning, and by Monday, there'll be one draw Monday, and it'll be ready for
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, oh yeah, they work. And we have a crew guys that support them. We work about 6-hour shifts. They'll work longer shifts.
Wow, It's great. And it takes like a lot of volunteers, as you were saying earlier when we were chatting, to make an event like this happen. And, we're very lucky to have a community that's very forthcoming with volunteers for an event like this.
It's amazing, how we've drawn from all the local communities. And if you look at it like a 50, 60 mile radius or 360 degree or 180 degrees, there's so many curling clubs.
Right.
There's about 50 curling clubs nearby. So, people love curling. They come to volunteer, come to watch. Yeah. It's a great event.
Yeah.
Great event for our club and for the town,
right.
for the municipality, I should say.
Yeah, and we were chatting earlier too about how different from last year in that there's going to be the women's event as well as the men's, so it's going to be even more teams, more draws, more curling fun and excitement for everyone.
Yeah, like last year there were 2 draws a day. This year will be 3. So we will be hopping.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You guys will be busy and tired by the end of it.
Very tired.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take some video of you out here, kind of showing us what you do out here on the ice, and then maybe we'll throw a couple of rocks at the end and see how it looks.
It might be advisable to throw a rock now before we start scraping.
Okay.
All right? Cool. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks.
You're welcome.